Hello and welcome to Flying Together Mission 2 of the UH-1 STORMFRONT campaign. This video shows the complete mission including explanatory comments from the developer. The mission is divided into two parts in the campaign. Part 1 is the easier and calmer part, while Part B is the more challenging and action-packed part. Mission 5, without this splitting, from start to finish, can be found in the campaign directory and can be started outside the campaign using the mission editor.
Nice move by the fire department to send us a fire truck to clean up the deck.
Still have this blood smell in my nose, mixed with the grease from the chainsaw.
The smell will disappear after a few minutes of flight. The weather is getting worse, but it's still okay to fly with...
Mission 2 begins shortly after the end of Mission 1 in the same place and continues the story. Once again, all settings on the radio are made by your commander. How quickly and in what order you start is up to you in this case, but I strongly recommend following the checklist in general. This is professional behavior that, if not already ingrained, it will become second nature by the end of the campaign at the latest. You have all the time you need to start the engine. The mission will continue automatically once the main rotor speed is in the green range.
Don't forget to check the altimeter. Field elevation is 130 feet. I put the ARC-134 on, and the ARC-51 to transmit receive just start.
If you like this kind of mission video with developer commentary, follow the channel and give us a like. But more importantly, share the video with all your friends. Of course, I also welcome any feedback. The challenges begin even before the start. It is important to listen to the radio and understand what is being said, even if it does not concern you personally. If you listen to the radio, you will receive a lot of helpful information about what is happening around you.
Calling command, move to. One, two. Stand by. That's one. Cleared for optic takeoff. Further departure. Frequency change approved.
Roger at Dodge 1. Cleared for takeoff. Changing frequency spot every tower. Have a good day.
One, two. Go ahead.
Even just trying to take in what is happening around you can make a supposedly boring situation very interesting, where you would otherwise just wait passively for the next instruction.
One, two. Hold position at 8. Hold position and wait. Move to.
Whether you consider individual missions or the campaign as a whole to be more or less positive, and opinions of different players may well differ greatly on this, can and will be strongly influenced by your expectations and approach. At the risk of repeating myself, I have placed the emphasis on simulation and learning curve, rather than quick fun.
One, two. Cleared for takeoff whenever you are ready. Have a good flight. Roger. Move to, cleared for takeoff. And one more. Take us out of here. We follow the road towards Copulini.
The takeoff from here seems straightforward, and indeed, in these years, as long as I pay attention to the obstacles ahead of me, nothing else will happen. Unlike a player, however, as a pilot I will not fly low over the tent during takeoff or at any time. In real life, that would be criminally ignorant and could lead to some serious trouble. To be honest, I should have kept much more distance from the tent to avoid risking it being damaged by the rotor downwash.
Word 2. Approved to deplete the fleet. The weather will be stable until the late afternoon. Have a nice flight. Roger that. Wolf 2 leaving frequency. Have a beautiful day.
Be cautious and make good use of your time. Therefore, switch frequencies to the next station as early as possible, because you never know when something unexpected might happen, and it is better to be well prepared.
142.500 MHz. That's the next camp on our way. Not the best memories we share with X-Field. So it's time for a fresh start.
Shortly after takeoff, you will be reminded once again of the help available via the kneeboard or the F10 radio menu. At the beginning, we have a railway line on our left, a road below us, and a road on our right that we need to keep an eye on. We set our course and altitude accordingly.
That's one of our convoys on the street down there. We are transporting people and supplies to X-Field and further north to Tenaki. Tenaki will be our next base, so the rule unit will move there in a few minutes. So we move closer to Abkhazia, the Russian sphere of influence. The Russians are not a problem. US-backed rebels and fascist groups from Ukraine in and around Zucchini and the southern part of Abkhazia are the real threat.
Let us disregard our observation task for a moment. If you follow a ground feature such as a road, river or railway line to orientate ourselves, it is good practice to always keep on the right-hand side of it. Someone else may have the same idea and be orientating themselves in the opposite direction to you. This way, you can both avoid meeting in the middle of the road, for example.
We'll fly to X-Field first, pay a visit, and then fly back a little bit to continue our task from yesterday.
Even if at first glance there appears to be nothing to do, there are always things to consider or keep in mind. As a helicopter or small aircraft navigating according to visual flight rules, you should report in by radio approximately 5 miles before your destination.
Exfield, go ahead. UH-1, 5 miles south, request upon Exfield, midfield. Departing southeastbound. Okay, report 3 miles out. Wolf 2, roger.
The airfield, which used to be out of service, isn't marked on the DCS knee board, and there isn't much information about either. Well, you should have prepared yourself with the documentation. If sliding along routes without much happening seem boring, it may be because you're negliging your observation task.
Wolf 2, 2 miles out, over completion. Okay, your transfer line past the northeast runway 03. No pass, 03. Wolf 2, roger that. Let's fly along the one-way center line and descend below 300 feet. Don't get too low, or we will only see the asphalt of the runway.
There are basically two ways to view an airfield from above without causing too much disturbance. One is to fly over and along the runway, and the other is to perform a so-called midfield crossing, in which the active runway is crossed centrally above or below the traffic pattern altitude.
Different now, lots of changes since our last visit.
If you have already flown the previous Spring 2025 campaign, you will be familiar with the airfield and may notice the changes that have
There is
been
much more
realized
work
in the
out there,
meantime.
and the interim housing in tents has changed into solid buildings. The new heading is 160 degrees. We need to fly 1 or 2 miles south, so we don't miss the last valley.
When you receive new direction instructions, do not overthink them. Simply carry out the orders.
Don't look like
After
the
all,
situation will
you are in
become
the
more
military
difficult.
and not on a joyride.
I heard the whole tank battalion would be stationed in the Batumi area, securing the region up to Capuletti and towards central Georgia. Not a good sign if due to the headquarters belief such a massive presence of ground forces will be necessary. We follow the river in front of us for about 7 miles to the left.
As already mentioned in Mission 1, rivers are often hidden along rows of trees that form an avenue and can therefore be seen indirectly from a great distance, provided you are not flying too low at
Go west and follow
altitude.
the river. Stay directly above the river, so that we have both the northern and the southern parallel road in sight. The southern road ends ahead. Move over above the left one. It's more important than the river.
Especially when flying over large continuous forest areas, settlements, or uneven terrain, you should always have an emergency landing site in mind. You should also adjust your flying height accordingly so that you can reach this site in the event of an engine failure.
There is a bus next to the road in front of us. Circle around and let's get a closer look at it.
When observing and flying around objects on the ground, it is important to keep the circles large enough to see everything, but not too large so that you can still see the details. The same applies to the flying height, of course, and it is important to maintain the best possible combination. Whenever possible, power-intensive hovering should be avoided. Forward movement provides safety and stability.
Looks like they have a glitch down there, right in the middle of nowhere.
In the context of military conflict, it is also important to always bear in mind that a moving target is more difficult to hit than one that is stationary in the air.
And I call X-Field. They might organize assistance for them. X-Field, move 2. X-Field, go ahead. There is a broken bus on the road along Queen River, about 5 miles southeast. Lots of passengers down there. They may need assistance. Roger that. We'll inform the local police. They can take care of it, over. Thank you. Wolf 2 over. The river is to the right. Let's follow them for a mile or two. Endless greens, trees all over. The paradise for woodworms. And woodpeckers. Come around. There is nothing but endless forest ahead. Fly back for about 2 miles.
When turning in a valley, first approach one side so that you can use the entire width of the valley for the turn. In addition to wind conditions, or if these are unknown, it is important to note that rising airflows are more likely to occur on the sunny side, while descending flows are more likely to occur on the shady slopes. This is particularly important to note at high altitudes and when operating at the helicopter's performance limits.
Only a few minutes from the nearest city, but right in the middle of nowhere. Flyer heading off 320 degrees. We'll climb over that hill. We can take a few miles and there is no imminent danger of being shut down.
Flying over mountain ridges should be done at a 45-degree angle to the slope. If there would be a strong downwind near the slope that exceeds the aircraft climb performance, it is easier to turn back towards the valley and avoid a collision with the mountain.
town of Achwitdavi, we follow the road westward.
As a pilot, it is important to scan the airspace and the terrain ahead, to the left and right of the road, as well as above and below, not only to detect other traffic in time, but also to have an overview of the terrain at all times. Acting with foresight makes many things easier and makes it simpler to react to changing situations. With the junction ahead, there are already possible options that I can consider and orient myself to before I receive possible instructions to change course.
Turn right. We follow the power lines northeast.
Even if I didn't notice the power lines before, they automatically come into view when I turn right as instructed. So many things answer themselves as I follow the part of an instruction that was clear and unmistakable.
Your heading is about 060 degrees. Stay above the street. It follows the power lines right in between.
Nothing noteworthy will happen between now and minute 32. This is still in front of us. Most of the terror case lies in the triangle between the mountains in the south and the north, and the Black Sea to the west. Not particularly large, but very beautiful. But above all, about its problems.
power line to the right ends right over there. The transformer station is located right between the trees. No visual. We stay above the street and follow the power line to the left. According to the map, she ends in the town Cable Mahoney, 1.5 miles ahead.
This is where Part A of the mission ends in the campaign. Part B continues exactly here.
That's the end of the power line. We follow the street up to the bridge in Otsukedi. The railroad station is right behind. We'll take a closer look from above and then turn left, following the river direct towards Kopuleti Airport. Wait a second. There is something unusual to the right, at our 3 o'clock position, right next to the river.
It should speak for itself that you listen to your commander and or your gunners, because they are your extended senses.
At least 2 vehicles have crossed the river southeast and disappeared into the forest at its northern side. Just in front of the small piece of forest, south of the river, where those 3 dark spots are in the grass, they have to be out and about somewhere in the northern forest. Visual. It's on the right side of that small forest where the river disappears between the trees. We'll circle over the forest west of the river. Let's see if we can find something down there.
Even if you don't understand everything right away, you should still react immediately with an appropriate course correction. Your commander usually observes ahead and to the left of the track, the left comer logically to the left, and the right comer, well, you may guess 3 times.
Bring us in the treetop level and slow down. Can't see the forest floor from up here.
The mission often requires you to weigh up safety considerations. In doing so, it may be necessary to lapsely disregard safety considerations such as flight altitude.
Hard to say where they went. They could have turned off in any direction. There could be a whole battalion hiding here. The trees are so close together, they hardly let in any light. Besides the fact our Huey isn't quiet at all, and they may see us circling, they have no reason to show themselves, even if they don't have any bad intentions. So we need a different approach. Let's fly 2 miles south and find an observation point where we can hide for a while.
At this point at least, it may be necessary to use the help in the F10 menu, such as easy pathfinding. The task and the flying itself become more challenging, and if you do not understand the instructions immediately or follow them directly, it can confuse you.
the left of the river. We are looking for a higher place on the left hill.
Hiding and sneaking up on your target are challenging and exciting tasks that require not only flying skills but also good situational awareness.
That's far enough. Bring us in position behind the tree line to our left. Go to the highest point of the clearing for a better view. Here we are. Turn the nose northbound and stay between 150 and 200 feet ATL. Not that much to see from here. If we don't see anything, we'll stay here for at least 10 minutes before we fly back.
Between 150 and 200 feet ATL. Too low and you can't see anything. Too high and you may be spotted. Always remember, your job is to fly, your crew can and will observe. This is one of the few tasks in the campaign that is absolutely essential to maintain course and altitude for a certain period of time. Otherwise, you will not be able to proceed. Once again, you are the pilot, even if you cannot see anything yourself. After all, you are busy doing your job, and your crew will do theirs if you do yours correctly.
There is something moving. Just behind the building on the east side of the forest. A dust cloud from at least 2 or 3 vehicles. Didn't take long. Shows they're very impatient. Heading 270. Find and follow the river northbound to the place they crossed over. The trees on both sides cover our approach. Stay low so we can observe without being detected.
Your commander is responsible for analyzing the situation and determining how to proceed. In the campaign, I try to emphasize this aspect of rock sharing as much as possible. On the one hand, because it's absolutely realistic, but on the other hand, because it guides you safely through the missions.
The river is right below us. Follow them to the right. Northbound, but stay at sea top level. Stay as low as possible. We'll continue to follow the river for a half a mile. our speed. At the next clearing, 90 degrees to the right.
Another aspect of this division of work becomes clear when you are moving at or below treetop level. Avoiding collisions with trees or other objects requires your full attention while your commander gives you the next change of direction in the style of a cowrilling.
Left. Left, and we should be at the right place. Here we are. Get into a hover and let's climb. We'll see if we can find the convoy.
Do you remember the spot? Can you see the black spots on the left side in the grass? Or could you follow all the movements and changes of direction in your head? If so, great. Because you are now back at the exact spot where your gunners are the convoy crossing the river and disappearing between the trees.
I can see nothing at all from here. Move slowly forward. We follow the river in treetop level.
It's up to you whether you rush through the mission and dash quickly from waypoint to waypoint, or whether you adopt a more cautious and realistic approach, allowing you to immerse yourself more deeply in the action.
Wait, that's far enough. We have no cover beyond this point. There is something in the town moving towards the forest southeast. We follow them with the greatest possible distance, but make sure we don't lose visual contact. They are going back into the woods. Let's go. We don't want to lose them again. This time, they're not stopping and hiding.
In some cases in the missions, as a mission builder, I am forced to use tricks to get around problems with pathfinding involving ground objects. This means that units actually disappear completely and reappear a little bit later in a different location to prevent them from getting stuck into forest areas, for example.
Obviously, they will go to the small village at the next clearing. We'll stay behind, keep on observing, and I'll inform command. Throwing command, move to. 112, sending command. loud and clear. Wolf 2 is southeast of Primo Magmame, following the middle river towards the last settlement. We detected a suspicious convoy of mixed vehicles and we intend to back them. Request additional air support and ground units for search. Private Wolf 2. Cover in the first step side. Get them out immediately. Take care and don't risk too much. Over.
Here again, we have one of these situations where your motivation determines whether you find it entertaining or boring. Once again, you should avoid hovering and keep the machine moving while keeping an eye on what is happening below you. Of course, you can also get upset that life is not all about constant action. Nothing significant will happen until the 50th minute. Then of course there are situations where speed and altitude are irrelevant, but you should never turn your back onto your supposed enemy. Flying very slow or even hovering out of ground effect are now the preferred option. However, it is now even more important to keep a safe distance from the supposed enemy. If you are too close and too slow, you are an easy target and you will have virtually no time to react if the situation suddenly becomes dangerous.
Stop. Right, watch with your filters. Careful. No one wants situation. We need to make sure they stay where they are now. A group of armed men is approaching the convoy from the south. buildings about 300 meters south of the convoy. If I'm seeing it right, there's also a small bunker. Okay, it's on file. Bring us to a safe distance. Through my friend here.
If you come under fire, your job as a pilot is not to attack the enemy directly, but to give your gunner the best possible position while maintaining a safe distance. This is particularly difficult for players, as they are usually very action and target fixated.
There is a car in the Gaza. Target destroyed.
In this case, it works so well that the fleeing vehicle that just been discovered is destroyed almost at the same moment. This saves you from having to chase it under enemy fire. Convenient on the one hand, unfortunate on the other.
Rattlesnake. Rattlesnake, move through. We are on the fire. One bunker and ground forces. Ground fire from at least 3 buildings. The village is hot and the landing is not possible. We are 2 Huey gunships and 1 machine troop transport. Are you able to mark the bunker and the buildings with red smoke? We call the tornadoes in, bombing the bunker. Also, the bunker and 2 buildings are close together. We'll mark them with red smoke. Let's go, fast and low. And Tom, open fire. Smoke is down. Let's get out of here. There is a film building at the northern edge of the settlement. That's our next task. Rattlesnake, serve 3 targets marked. We'll stay and mark the first, as well as orange smoke. Roger, Wolf 2. Air support is inbound, and we'll be there in 2 minutes. Roger, we'll stay out of your punch path. You hear it? Stay no friends, so we don't catch one of our own rockets.
Support is on his way. Even now, it is important to assess the situation correctly and interpret directions accurately so as not to become an obstacle or target for your own forces. In this case, I will deliberately seek them out to show that such actions are simulated correctly and not simply scripted by explosions.
Send men on station. Drop charge in 60 seconds. Cargo on the way. Break station. Tinker Bell is on hold if needed. Good luck.
Rattlesnake inbound. We start our first rocket run on the bunker.
You are no longer alone, so you should keep your eyes open and, if possible, you know where your own forces are at all times. The further you stay away from the common target area, the less likely a collision in the air will be.
Inbound on L2, ATA in 90 seconds.
Tuesday, move 2. Will cover your approach. Go down and distract him by offering us as a target.
Tinkerbell, Rattle, Snake. Target still active. Would like to have your cargo as well.
Roger, Rattlesnake. Tinkerbell engaging target. New place at the LC. New place, touchdown. New place, taking off. Great station. Heading back to the field.
Bravo team is on the ground. All 2. Thanks for your help. You are ordered RTB.
Move 2, heading back to exit. Good luck, Rattlesnake.
Cargo is released. Break station.
With several objects in the air, it can become very confusing. Experience helps you to analyze the situation quickly and correctly and to follow the right object in the sky.
Roger that. Roll 2. We have some holes in the windshield and a warning light for the hydraulic system. What's your status?
It doesn't look any better here, but it will hold. Bring us in our 7 o'clock position within 300 feet.
Once again, your commander will help you determine whether you are following the correct aircraft by providing a simple position report. Formation up to 1 hour and 13 minutes when the Mi-8 makes an emergency landing at the airfield and is already expected there.
guy who said the situation had calmed down again. We all make mistakes. That's true, but these kinds of errors aren't the final, fatal variety. I filed a written complaint, if that will make you feel better.
Northeast north, northeast, we have some warning lights, and hydraulic pressure is dropping low. Inbound for an emergency landing.
Welcome, mate. Your command, straight in on runway 210. Emergency units on their way.
Roger, X-Field, Blue Snake, cleared for straight in, on runway 210. Tail rotor gets sticky as well, so we would prefer the opposite direction into the wind.
Roger that. You're on official base, mate. There's one landing on 030.
Long landing, 030, thanks a lot.
Taxi, move 2. 3 miles northeast, following Tuesday. Inbound for landing. Exhale. Land of the public habitat behind the barracks, west of the runway. Welcome. We'll do landing at the helipad. But first, we will escort Tuesday with their town over the water. Just to make sure they don't get their feet wet.
UK. Left downwind. 030.
With the defective hydraulics, they have a turning circle like an aircraft carrier. If they lose it completely, there will be no way to move the controls anymore. But they are still too high for jumping into the water.
Blue plate. Turning left base.
Listen, have you inside? Wind is from 0 to 5 degrees, 5 to 10 knots variable.
Blue plate. Turning final. Short final. Very hard, but it's still controllable.
Looks pretty good. They're almost safe on the ground.
Blue plate landed. Many thanks to the reception committee.
Let's go to the helipad. I need a shower and a beer. X-Field, move towards coming into land. Yes, ma'am. Wind is still from the north. Clear to land, move to. It's behind the barracks, Frank.
Do you know the position of the helipad? For the mission and for you as a player, it doesn't matter how you get the machine down there in one piece. As a pilot, you naturally pay attention to the wind direction and the safe approach path for an approach that is as standard as possible.
shut down the engine.
Once you have landed, the mission is complete and you can either exit by pressing escape or perform a shutdown according to the checklist. After switching off the battery, the mission will end automatically.